Well, thank you for coming, everybody. My name is Jane. I'm an international lecturer on Vedic mathematics and sacred geometry. I'm currently employed by many schools to teach the magic of mathematics, to revive that special interest and visual impact that children need to learn mathematics. So I've created a show called Mathemagics. My journey is to travel around the world and awaken this new mathematics, this new visual program, so that children can still do and meet the curriculum that they have to learn, the surface areas, the volumes, the measurements. We still need to know all this, but unfortunately a lot of children have switched off straight away. You can be teaching them all the algebra and calculus that you would like, but they're not going to learn it because from the very beginning they've shut down. I've been paid by the government to write books on sacred geometry. I've been doing this show for 20 years in Australia as I've travelled around. It's a travelling show where I get the children to sit outside and we look at all these beautiful shapes. Like, for example, we could do a whole lesson on showing a child what is this shape. It's not a sphere. Like, we know that a circle is two-dimensional, we know that a sphere is three-dimensional, but this is somehow imploded, not exploded, it's gone in. So it's an imploded sphere. Where does it exist in nature? What is this? It's a fourth-dimensional sphere. And it exists, say, as the blood cells, the platelets. So this is a living shape that we can discover and find in the human anatomy. We call it a tube torus donut. We're going to be talking a little bit about this. So part of my journey today is to give an introduction to 4 different topics that I teach. When I teach with children, there's 4 distinct topics called Vedic mathematics. Actually, I'll show you the list here. Okay. The title of my introduction is called Ancient Knowledge. It could be universal knowledge, it could be called the living mathematics of nature, but you'll see here that there's actually 4 distinct topics. One's called rapid mental calculation. Currently it's been called Vedic mathematics. Vedic mathematics is the ability to do rapid mental calculation in your head in seconds. The second subject here is called Atomic Art of Magic Squares. We're going to look at the atomic art of magic squares. We're going to look at the mathematics in nature. It's called the lost secrets of the Phi code. And we're also going to look at 3-dimensional shapes that Pythagoras and Plato revered. It's on the Platonic solids, but it's here I've called it 3-dimensional sacred geometry. I find in a lot of lectures that I've performed, people confess that they've been wounded by the way that they've had to be forced to learn rote learning, the way they've had to learn their timetables, and the way that they felt like a robot just having to learn all this stuff, and it was quite meaningless. And so a lot of people have shut down with mathematics, and even worse than that, a lot of people feel that they were dumb. And my research goes to show that the people who actually shut down on mathematics at school and refused to embrace it and love it and continue with it, on a higher level, their higher self actually understood that the mathematics that was being spoon-fed to them was not in resonance with their higher knowledge, their higher self. So they shut down. So if you were one of those people, my advice to you would be that that's actually a good state of mind to be in, rather than having to have learnt a lot of heavy mathematics like I did and then had to spend 20 years trying to undo all the heavy conditioning. I believe that a lot of dyslexic children who I've worked with as a remedial mathematician, they're so intelligent and advanced souls that the teacher's unable to feed their visual capacity. So these children that we call dyslexic and dope them with a lot of Ritalin drugs are actually so intelligent, they're keeping themselves occupied mentally by reversing and mirror imaging and flipping over images neurally in their brain just to keep themselves entertained. So again, if you're a dyslexic child, consider that also as a gift. In a lot of the classes that I teach, a lot of children know their 9 times table by actually doing the computations with their fingers. So I'm going to give you 2 examples of how we can actually do finger computation. The word actual digit comes from the Latin meaning finger, which is quite a common word we use in this digital age. So the original concept of mathematics was that we could use our fingers to solve multiplication. So most people know this one, but the second one I'm teaching you is quite an interesting one. It's a way of doing all your times table from 6, 7, 8 and 9 times table by one method with finger dexterity. So the one that most people know is when you multiply by 9 any number like 3 times 9, we go 1, 2, 3, we count 3. You can either count from this side or that side, but whichever way you count from, let's go here, 1, 2, 3, I put that finger down, and what I'm left with is 2 fingers on this side and 7 fingers on that side. So 9 times 3 is 2 lots of 10, that's 27. So 9 times 6 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I put that finger down, and it means that the answer is 5 on this side, that's 50, and what remains over here is 4, 54. 9 times 8 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I put that down, and the answer is 7 lots of 10, 72. So that's quite a simple one. I've got another sheet here to show you that we can also multiply by 9 double digits. We just multiplied 9 by a single digit, but can we also use our fingers to solve problems like 9 times 38? What I just explained now is that we can multiply a single digit by 9 quite simply by counting the number of digits in. But what happens now if we have a double digit like 38? So 9 times 38, there's a trick to this one. So when we want to multiply with our fingers 9 times a double digit like 38 or 47, any double digit number, we take the first digit like 3 of the 38, we count 3, we go 1, 2, 3. Instead of putting that finger down like before, I'm actually going to create a V, a separation, it's like a forward stroke. So that's going to be 300 and something. So I've got 300, and now the 8 of the 38, I count 8 from this side, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is the finger that I put down now. So I've got 3 on this side, that's 300, and in the middle I've got 4 digits, which is 40, and on this side I've got 2. So the answer would be 342, 342. But this is not a universal method because it fails in the fact that if I multiply a number like 64, if the first number like 6 is greater than the other digit 4, it won't work. It only works if the first digit like the 3 is less than the 8. Like 38 works, but 83 wouldn't work. So this is a good system, but it fails. So the theme with Vedic mathematics, for example, was how can we solve that problem, find another shortcut? So they found a shortcut. So this is a method now that's universal that can teach children how to do all their times table, like the 6 times, 7, 8 and 9 times. And so it's quicker, so it solves this problem. This is a universal system of how to multiply all our times table just with our 10 fingers. So what you do with the child is you can get a texter and you can say, put a 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10, but on both hands, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're going to multiply, for example, 8 times 7. We want to know what's 8 times 7. So what you do is on one hand you say, here's the 8. I go 6, 7, 8. So I take this finger here, which represents 8, and on the other hand, I look for the 7, which is 6, 7. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to join the 8, this finger, with the 7 of this finger. So I'm literally going to join the 8 and the 7. That's how I'm multiplying 8 times 7. So the 2 digits that are joined plus the digits below represent 5 digits. I've got 3 below, and the 2 that are joined, they all represent 10 points. So that represents 50. So the answer is 50 something. 8 times 7 is 50. Now above the 50 I've got 2 here and 3 there. They're like the excesses in Vedic maths by the excess. I've got 2 left and 3 left. So I multiply the 2 excesses. The 2 times 3 is 6. So the answer is 50 below and 6 above. So 8 times 7 is 56. I'll do one, say, with the 9 times table. So 9 times 8, for example, would be 6 is here, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm going to join this finger to the 8 on this finger, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to join the index to the middle finger. So 9 times 8 represents, I got two that are joined there, and all below represent 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 70. And what's above is 1 and 2. So it's 70 something. 1 times the 2 is 2. So the answer is 72. You might check, let's do a hard one, 6 times 7, because there's going to be a carryover. So 6 times 7 would be, I take the 6 from the baby finger on this finger and the 7 down here, 6, 7. I'm going to join 6 to 7, which is that. So what I've got below is 10 for those two, that's 20, plus that is 30. I've got 30 plus, I have to multiply these two excesses. I've got 4 here and 3 there. So 4 times 3 is 12. So I'm going to add 12 to the 30 below, so it's 42. 6 sevens are 42. It's just a great way. 7 squared is 7, 7. I've got 40 down here, 3 3s are 9, 49. So when a child becomes adept with this, they get confidence and it increases their memory ability, and they're doing it through something tactile rather than saying rote, learn and drill, be drilled and learn. So children love this, and unfortunately it's not taught at schools. So I highly recommend tactile finger computation. Lucas had just came into the lounge room and said, "Mum, look, I've been given an award for mathematics." And so Lucas was given this merit for maths, and he was given this merit for maths because he came to class fully equipped with a calculator. Can you believe it? This is where we're at today in mathematics, that just by bringing in your calculator, you're a good mathematician. So I'm going to show you some examples now how we can do all this mathematics without a calculator. In fact, that the ultimate calculator is right here between our ears. It's right within us. This is part of what I'm teaching, that all knowledge is actually within us. We are the ultimate human bio-calculator. Perhaps the best example of Vedic mathematics is a very simple one which explain to you clearly what this system is. Whenever we multiply by 11, we use one of the 16 sutras called digital compression. So the best example I can give you right now, and the most simple one, is to solve any number like 25. When it's multiplied by 11, we actually compress the digits. So what I'm doing now is called digital compression. I'm literally going to add the digits. So I look at the number that I'm multiplying by 11 and I say, well, 25 is really 2 and 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to literally separate the digits. So I've got the number 25 here, but I've written it as if I've kind of expanded the digits. So 25 is there. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to digitally compress those numbers. You'll learn later on in sacred geometry that if we have a problem, like in the science world, say we have a computer, we have a lot of data, how do we solve the problem of transferring a lot of data from one system to another? Well, we digitally compress filing systems, which solves the problem. Nature does that with the sunflower. How does nature pack all the seeds into a sunflower? It compresses all the seeds into a beautiful spiral pattern. So I'm going to do the same thing that nature does. I compress 25 by adding the digits. So I say 25 is 2 plus 5. And I have my instant answer. So if you look at this properly, the answer is 275. So we can say that equals 275. So this sutra, digital compression, for this example only works when I'm multiplying by 11. I can do another one where I'm multiplying by 11, but I'm actually multiplying like 4 digits. Like, how do you multiply, say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1,234 by 11? I do the same thing. This time I'm going to write the number 100, 1,234, and I'm going to add a 0 before and after that number. So I'm going to place a 0 here and a 0 there. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the neighbour. I'm literally going to keep adding each pair of digit. There's no multiplication. Even though we think we're multiplying by 11, all I'm doing is adding the digits. So I say 4 plus 0 is 4. I actually write it underneath. Then I say 3 plus 4 is 7. I'm just literally adding the neighbours. 2 and 3 is 5. 1 and 2 is 3. And this is the reason why I put the 0 here, is that I need to add 0 plus the 1. So here's another one-line answer. 1,234 multiplied by 11 is 13,574. All done because I understood how nature works, how the brain operates, by just compressing numbers. We're learning here how to hold digits in the brain again. We're learning how to place those digits and see them and then arrive at the answer. And it's beautiful that when you can do it with a little bit of practice, you'll be doing very rapid mental calculation. I'd like to introduce to you one of the chief masters who brought back all this ancient knowledge to the Western world. I have a picture here of Bharati Krishna Tathaji. He was born in 1884 and he died in 1960. So 44 years have gone by, and a lot of the incredible information that he was teaching got buried and dismissed. The reason why he's important was that he was considered to be like the Pope of India. He was the ecclesiastical head of one quadrant of India. So India apparently had 4 spiritual heads. So he was one of the chief heads of one quadrant. He also had a master before him, and because he had great skills in spirituality, philosophy and yoga and astronomy, he was skilled in all areas. So Bharati Krishna Tathaji he defined the Vedas, like what is Vedic mathematics. The word Veda means the illimitable knowledge and storehouse of all knowledge. Basically what I'm teaching is that I'm taking his work a step further, and basically what I'm teaching is that if we continue to use the electronic calculator for the next 25 years, the global brain will deteriorate. The knowledge that the Eastern yogis had 3,000 years ago is far superior than what we have today. Bharati Krishna Tathaji wrote one book in his lifetime called Vedic Mathematics, and it was actually published posthumously about 6-7 years after his passing on in 1960. But this is the book that shows the 16 sutras that solve all known problems. This is the universal book. This one book alone has spawned like 1,000 different websites. Many people like myself have tapped into the truth that this is the correct way of teaching mathematics through pattern recognition. Apparently the only people using Vedic mathematics now is NASA. NASA are secretly using this Vedic mathematics in what we call robotics, artificial intelligence, because they're trying to understand, how does the brain really work? How do we simulate the brain? Oh, the brain can just do mental calculations like this. What's 96 times 95? It must be 96 less 5 is 91, 5 6 is a 30. Yep, 9,130. How do we do instant calculations like that? So this knowledge got buried for 44 years, and it's only just now is there a renaissance on this system. This is a picture of Yoganandaji, Paramahansa Yogananda. When Bharati Krishna came to America, Yoganandaji had passed on, but he set up a self-realization fellowship organisation, and it was through his efforts and research that allowed the institute to continue, and that's where the master came to stay with this group in Los Angeles. So all these amazing teachers that have come here have naturally had this mathematical knowledge, but they've never actually advertised it. They've just grown up with these incredible formulas. Most people are familiar with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. We often call him the Beatles guru. I consider Maharishi as perhaps the greatest living mathematician on the planet today. He has an incredible website. He's putting out formulas like Einstein is on the ultimate harmonic numbers, and he is so advanced and adept. He's like at the top person to consult today, and they're students. They have schools, Maharishi schools today, where they're training these students to do mathematics mentally. So mental calculation is the way to go. We have a picture here of Shankatala Devi. Just like Maharishi Mahesh is the greatest male mathematical mind, she's also alive and has websites. So Shankatala is the greatest female mind. She was able to take a number, like a 201 digit number. She was able to give the 23rd root of a 201 digit, and she could do this problem that was devised by Texan students. She could do this problem in 1 minute just by seeing the solution, whereas the computer in Texas took 13,000 instructions to do what she could do instantly like that. So I'm going to demonstrate that when I come to this example here, how to do cube roots. All of these problems can be done mentally in seconds, but I'm going to just explain how I arrive at these questions. So you've got a simple understanding of what is mental one-line arithmetic. Often after a lecture, people ask me, well, can I have a memory of all these examples that you've given to me? So I've put together this book called The Magic of Nine in Vedic Mathematics. And then I did some teacher training courses, which is one of my passions. So I created the first of 16 books called The Vedic Maths Curriculum for the Global School. Literally what I'm doing here is I'm rewriting the whole mathematical curriculum. So this is just book one. There'll be another book on multiplication. There'll be another book on division, another book on fractions and decimals and other formulas. So this book here, this orange book, was based on digit sums, digital compression. So there's a lot more to come out in ways that have questions and answers like a traditional school book, so that children can just sort of get familiar with these sutras and formulas.